I have my friends who kind of keep pulling my leg for reading load balancer every single time that they come to my house. But it's just that I always never understood it properly. So I read some like 6 to 7 different books on just load balancers. But that's how much I pushed myself to understand it clearly.
Hi everyone, in the series of interview experiences, we are back with in the interview experience. Well, I would like to say it's not just an interview experience but a journey. And from this journey, you are definitely gonna learn a lot. So make sure to watch the complete video if you are someone who is willing to get into a product-based company or thinking to make a startup of your own. We have covered each and everything in this video itself. Well, this is the journey of Abhishek. Even I got an opportunity to learn more from his journey. You will also get the same, so make sure to watch the video till the end. But before proceeding further, if you are new to this channel or if you haven't subscribed my channel till now, then guys, do consider subscribing my channel. You can follow me on LinkedIn and Twitter as well. The handles has been mentioned in the description, and make sure to join our Telegram channel as well to know about more such updates. So let's get started. Hi Abhishek, first of all, thanks a lot for accepting my invitation and sharing your journey with us on my YouTube channel. I believe it will be really helpful for all the viewers and for me as well. So thanks a lot for that. Well, yeah, Abhishek, so I believe the audience must be curious to know more about you. So you can start with your introduction.
Thanks, Amar. Thanks for reaching out and thank you for expressing interest in connecting with me for understanding my journey. Really appreciate it. A very quick introduction about me. Currently working as an engineering manager at Google, and I'm leading of one of the Google Cloud teams in India currently. Prior to this, I was with Flipkart for a very short duration of say 4 months, wherein I was leading the chat assistant team, and which was a team of 11 people up in total. Okay, and this was all about late 2021 till now. Prior to that, I was working as the co-founder of a startup named Sumyag since 2017 to 2021, wherein I was successfully able to grow it into a multi-million dollar valuation startup. The startup was more focused into the insurance AI space, wherein we were trying to compare the similar documents. I will talk more about it maybe later on. In the interest of time, I'll just continue. Before the startup, I worked as an SD2 at Walmart, and prior to that, I worked with AIG as a programmer analyst. And that's like a very quick walkthrough of my journey. And I've interned at one startup in the web development page before this named Icicle. So that's like the entire work history that I have currently.
Okay, great. So congratulations as you have recently joined Google. So yeah, I'm curious to know like how you got this opportunity for Google.
Okay. I would say I got a bit lucky because I did not actually have to go ahead and apply it. One of the recruiters thankfully noticed my profile and expressed interest. So that was how she reached out over LinkedIn messages. We collaborated for a while, and we had a couple of calls to discuss the initial recruiter screening, which is what it is called. So when she reached out for the engineering manager role. I had to explain and convince her that because I have this 7.5 years experience, which technically is not the correct fit for most of the companies. So we discussed. She took a leap of faith in my candidature. I'm so happy she did. But yeah, that's how. And once all of those discussions were done, she like one of the other recruiters sent me an invitation from Google for the interview, and I did the regular onboarding and application formalities. So that's like how it happened.
Okay. But yeah, that's a great point. You just now mentioned that the experience that you were having was not like what they were looking for. Like your experience was lesser than that. The profile was actually demanding for. So like how you manage this thing? Like what point do you think was there in your profile by which they became, convinced that okay, we should go with your profile?
Correct. So it was a combination of multiple things. One, which obviously would say is believe in yourself. Like obviously, when they reached out for an SD3 equivalent profile. And considering Google and the brand value that it brings, I normally would have been swayed, but I did not want to give up on my leadership opportunities that I was having and the entrepreneurial mindset that I had prior to this. So I kind of expressed my interest, told them that it is, and I was very happy to even say that, see, if you think I'm not a very good fit right now, and if you want to go ahead with the age bar as this, I'd be happy to maybe apply a few years later. Obviously, because every company has their own set of hiring principles in this. I was very pleasantly surprised when, based on my interest and a relook at my profile, they decided to go ahead with me. I cannot thank my recruiters enough for giving me that opportunity, because it's like textbook definition of a LinkedIn HR versus a real life HR, right? So I was genuinely and pleasantly surprised when that happened. That being said, I would obviously like not call it a fluke, because obviously I have put in enough hours dedicated into my entrepreneurial abilities and my leadership abilities. So yeah, that helped. In terms of this, the only place where I did get lucky is when the recruiter reached out. I was already looking out for new opportunities, and I had very recently interviewed with Flipkart and Apple. So half of the preparation and the experience was already there. On the remainder half, because I got an opportunity at Google, which was kind of a dream company. So I did clock in some extra hours of preparation to hoping to get clear the bar and get in. I had like zero expectations when we were initially talking. So yeah, that's how it mostly happened.
Okay, great. So next question related to that only. So like, how many rounds were there for you for this profile?
Quite an exhaustive long list. The recruitment process at Google is very thorough and very exhaustive. And I had a lot of rounds, primarily because I was also interviewing for a slightly senior designation. Normally, I know people have 4 to 5 rounds and one recruiter screening round, which happens at the very beginning, where your profile is assessed whether to be taken for on-site interviews or not. I had the similar round, but after that, I had a total of 6 rounds, three behavior, one coding round, two system design rounds, two behavioral rounds, and one Googliness round. Googliness round is something that Google is very particular about, because it's like for them a culture fit round and that. And I also had one extra round in which I spoke to the director of the team that I was going to be meeting. You can also name it as a team fit round if that suits. So in total, I had a good 7 to 8 rounds across multiple weeks, and it was thoroughly exhaustive. I can honestly think, like, mention to my friends and family that I'll get rejected in 3 of those 8 rounds till they stop believing into me, like now just passing through and you're just lying about your toughness and other things. So yeah, that's how it went. But this was too long, primarily because I think they were also a bit skeptical about having a person, so they wanted to assess me thoroughly. Normally, I've seen having people somewhere between 4 to 6 rounds at Google.
Okay, yeah, understood. Got it. And yeah, I must say that yeah, so these many rounds can be really exhaustive for someone. As you were giving your introduction, so yeah, I came to know like you have worked with multiple product-based companies. So somewhere I had a question in their mind, like, what do you believe? Like, what are the major skill set that a product-based company is looking for in a candidate?
Okay, so I'll answer this slightly differently, Soumya. What I've normally seen people approaching, right, that product-based companies have some very weird interview rounds or something, and that it takes above and beyond to clear it. I want to help others understand and clear this conception that it is not true. Okay, we actually look for basics. Okay, the core fundamentals and the ability to solve problems becomes very paramount importance. So if I have to quickly like list down a few bullet items straight from the top of my mind, I would definitely say ability to solve a problem surely helps. Relevant past experience, if the candidate is not a fresher, obviously helps, because we have more faith that he or she will be able to like ramp up faster. Culture fit is a very important criteria when you're moving into product-based companies, and we pay a slight more attention to it when we are pulling somebody from service-based companies to product. Not like it's like a zero point 0.9 to zero point 0.1 to 1.0 difference, but culture fit is extremely important. Every product-based company has its own set of culture. I have three completely different cultures that I've experienced at Walmart, at Flipkart, and at Google, and all three of them have their own set of benefits. Okay, so it's very interesting, and it's also good to know that there are so many parallel strategies which is working around. The other thing, right, which I've seen so many people not paying enough attention to, and it somehow gets taken for granted, is communication. How you go ahead and explain your thoughts becomes extremely important. I've seen some really talented folks with sparkling resumes get rejected because they have not been able to communicate their thoughts, and that makes us wonder if they actually did it or not. And the recruitment processes are slightly designed in a way that it helps you remove false negatives from recruitment than to take that risk in a few places. So communication and resume writings is the two of the things that I've also seen this. If I have to put one-liner summaries, I would say don't try and overdo it. Keep things simple, focus on the basics, and you're good to go.
Okay, okay. I must say, like, you have very well explained the thing, and obviously that's what you are having these many years of experience, so it must be helping all the viewers that are currently watching the video. Well, another question somewhere related to that only, like you have prepared for these many companies. So what were the resources you followed for the preparation of these product-based companies?
Sure thing. So I'm a bit old school that way. I don't follow too many resources, even though there's plenty. And to be frank, when I left college, there were not many available. Geeks for Geeks is something that comes straight at the top of my mind. It has been like my go-to resource and my most loved this. So much so that I actually even went ahead and taught a few courses on system design at Geeks for Geeks later on when I was, say, qualified enough. Apart from that, lead code is an amazing portal. Like Geeks for Geeks plus lead code, if anyone does, he or she can be like well assured that their DSA is up to mark, because lead code you can submit solutions and try it. They do not offer solutions for free, but Geeks for Geeks is the perfect place for you to do it. So if you are a student or if you don't have enough money backing you up and you don't want to buy lead code subscription, Geeks for Geeks is an amazing place to learn. Lead code is an amazing place to practice. Okay, for senior folks who are applying for SD3 or above roles, system design is a mandatory round for them. And unfortunately, I've not found too many good resources there. But few of the places which I personally went and referred to was Try Exponent is one of the websites. It's costly, very costly, because it's not meant for the Indian audience, more for the US audience. But they do have a set of few free videos which you can definitely listen to. There's this YouTuber, Tech Dummies by Narendra L, if I remember correctly. He explains a lot of those system design problems. The only thing which I request is, unlike Narendra, where he comes up previously with a system design problem and then he traces it back, that's not a liberty that you get when you're interviewing. You have to draw everything on your own. So the correct way that I used to do was I used to try solving those problems first on my own and then refer back to his videos. So I knew the questions because I used to find similar videos first and then tried solving it at my end before continuing ahead, and then use it as a verification or answer sheet. Unfortunately, in system design, there is no correct answer. So I was perfectly happy and okay if my answers never matched his videos or they were slightly different. But I made sure I did enough hours of trying to solve different problems, randomly tried doing Zomato, tried doing Facebook, Instagram, Google, Gmail, and other things. There are literally every app on your phone is a good system design problem to solve. So that's how I did the practice around that. But and the last resource which I did find was there's this book named Design Data Intensive Applications, written by Martin Kleppman. Amazing book. I would just request everyone who wants to read it to have some relevant experience before, like at least some design practice or something else. It's a gem of a book. I think I've read it twice already, and I'm more than happy to read it 3 to 4 more times because it's a super good book to read. It's just that it will help you grow a lot more into an architecture space than in the interviews, because it's very deep and covers a lot of topics which may or may not get asked you to introduce. So if you're looking for career growth, that is a much better book than for interview preparations. So that's like a quick short note on all the books. And in terms of behavioral rounds, I wouldn't recommend reading too many books. It's more about your personality. Going through the company's culture surely helps, because you have to fine tune your answers for every company and their own culture. The answers that I gave at Google will get me rejected at Amazon and vice versa because they have this different set of cultures. Similar, but I did read a few books. So I read one book on cracking the PM interview by Gail Lackman McDowell. The reason for doing that, because there's unfortunately no book called as Cracking the Engineering Manager Interview. I hope she writes one soon enough. And I read this book by Ankur Warikoo, which is like Do Epic Shit, and a few other motivational / biographies, which kind of helps me fine tune some of my answers. Like everyone's life journey is similar in some or the other context, but then if you read a few popular writers' book, you can like reword your answers in similar context. So I like reading, and I kind of used a few statements from his book also at one or the other point of time. So those were the resources that I referred to, Soumya, in short.
Must say, like, these are very, very helpful resources and obviously going to be helpful for everyone. Well, in the starting of the video, like when I was listening to you, you mentioned about your startup. So I'm still wondering, like, what made you to make a startup of your own and what it was all about. So can you let us know about this?
Sure thing. So my startup was more into the data science and artificial intelligence product. I had worked at AIG, so insurance was one of my soft corners. And I firmly believe that there were tons of opportunities for growing a startup in the insurance space because it's still an unsolved problem. Even today, when I go and submit my discharge papers in the hospital, it takes me from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the evening. So I can see if that, if not anything, if I just try automating stuff also, there's too many growth opportunities there. Okay, and that's the idea that we started chasing. We started chasing the ability to compare two different dissimilar documents and how can I understand those documents. It's not a git diff wherein I complete line by line. I'm saying if there's something written on document 1, page 18, and there's something written on document 2, page, say, 723, I would still be able to draw correct correlations around it. It's like reading novel. Harry Potter is mentioned in volume 1 and Harry Potter is also mentioned in volume 3. You'll be able to tell that these two are equal and they have similar characteristics floating around. So a very interesting and complex problem to solve. I spent good 4 years trying to do that. Coming to your question of what motivated me to do that were some personal beliefs. I personally like working in India and working for India. Like I don't want to be a part of the brain drain and continue like helping people around me also evolve. So, and doing a startup was always a dream. I just didn't see it happening that quickly. Okay, so I thought maybe I'll do it after 5 to 7 years experience, but I jumped into it with just 3 years experience, and it was a roller coaster ride. Okay, like from being an SG2 and thinking purely from a developer perspective, now I have to think from an architect, a business leader, a customer, every perspective. So it was an amazing learning experience, an exponential sinusoidal wave type. Sometimes we even questioned if I'm doing it the right thing or not. But it paid off in the end. Like I had an amazing, good journey building products and having interesting customer engagements around it. So that was the part of the reason why I did it. And the other part also was because I love building new products, like thinking about free product ideas, about improving existing solutions, or how can I make things better. Even when I normally go around, I try finding things which I can contribute to, even if it's not directly feasible. But it's good to think about problems and how to solve them and go about it.
Okay, okay. Must say like surely like you even like you started something of yours that matters a lot, and obviously you got an opportunity to learn even, right? Because sometimes things work, sometimes they don't work. Well, when I was thinking about this, there was one question that I recently got from one of the students. So you must be knowing that somewhere job security is a thing that somewhere we have to keep less prioritize it while working in a startup. So nowadays, fresh graduates are having this question in their mind, like, should they go for a startup or a company? So what's your thought on this question?
It totally depends upon a person to person. Okay, see, we cannot even compare two people from the same branch of the same college because you don't know what family background they have, what's going on in their personal life. MNC obviously gives you a safety net wherein the probability of you getting fired is a lot less. It's not impossible because we have seen news like Uber laying off a lot of people, which is a very well respected company in current space and it has an amazing working culture. Okay, and then there have been news about MNCs laying off. Okay, so it's like a bit of a pro and con analysis. Startups pay you a lot more, MNCs offer you a safety net. It totally depends on this. It's also about a person's personal ability. For example, I love solving problems and chasing like impossible milestones. So I love working in a startup. Okay. However, if say I was having a personal obligation, say my dad was going through a medical emergency or there were some other obligations, I would have taken the safety net. Or for example, if I was say expecting a child or was thinking of settling down or helping my family take priorities over, I may still prefer an MNC because it gives you that extra room. Unfortunately, a lot of startups, because of the target that they're chasing, work-life balance becomes a bit of a interesting debate. So I have had a lot of people reaching out to me on LinkedIn also for similar scenarios. I just ask them the basic set of questions where they are currently there, how much stable they see their at least next few years going down, and how much of cash they have at the back of their mind to basically have a safe check. Okay. Nonetheless, the probability of any company firing you all of a sudden is not very likely. So I would not want that to be a key decision maker when choosing companies. The primary decision factor while choosing companies should be what are your vision, how much do you love the product for that particular company, and how do you go about it. For example, I love Zerodha, the way they're customer obsessed. It's very difficult to find a company as good as Zerodha is. So if I had an opportunity, I would have definitely loved to work for Zerodha or small case or equivalent companies, primarily because of their customer obsession and their Indian startup companies. Same thing I can say for Meesho also. Meesho is an amazing company which is currently growing. Yes, they have laid off a few employees back and forth, but if you look at their overall growth profile, it's amazing. Okay, so there's always a balanced risk. Okay, I've also seen people in few of those MNC companies complaining that I don't get enough good hike and other things. So it's always a trade-off of what you want and how you want to be.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I must say, like, you have answered it very well, and somewhere my thoughts even aligned with what you just mentioned. So I believe, like, those who are having this question in their mind, so they got their answer. Well, I believe, Abhishek, these were some of the questions that I was having to discuss with you, and you have explained them so well. Even I got an opportunity to learn more about the stuff. So thank you for that. But before wrapping up the video, I would like to know if you have any advice for the students or the audience that is currently watching the video.
Sure. So a lot of things I've already said. I'll just reiterate this. I've seen a lot of people when they prepare, they focus only on data structures, algorithms, some behavioral round. I mean, I've not even seen a lot of people actually preparing for behavioral rounds. I want to emphasize the importance of a good resume, good behavioral round practice, because yes, behavioral rounds are not as much as the data structures and algorithms, but in product companies, they're still important. And if you ignore them, maybe some other candidate may take some brownie points against you, okay, in their favor. So that's one thing which I've definitely, and I've seen a lot of people whose resume mostly gets rejected. Okay, so it takes maybe 2 to 3 days, maybe a week to write it one through multiple iterations and doing this. And I personally face this struggle because I've not interviewed anywhere for good 5+ years, right? The first is resume which I wrote was, I don't think I would have shortlisted myself if I had received that resume. So I wrote one draft, then I wrote another, then I wrote another. I think I went through 3 to 4 different iterations. I sent it across to a few of my close family and friends, asking for their thoughts, and that's how I revised it. But I've seen a lot of people, they think that just sending the resume because they have few of those companies or tick marks on their name should help them get selected. Unfortunately, that's not true because even from the good product companies, there are thousands of people applying. So drafting out a good thing is there. That's one. Second, communication and the way you talk and explain your thoughts is of paramount importance. I cannot emphasize enough. That's primarily why most of the rejections happen by round one or round two. Okay, it's not more because of this. It's also because of your like ability to communicate your thoughts. Thinking out loud is of paramount importance, and being honest to your recruiter also is. So it's not like when I ask you a question, if you don't know it, I would prefer you telling me that you have not worked on this and maybe I can change my question, rather than you trying to fool around me and hoping that I don't detect that. Okay, so those things are something that I do defer to, would like to say. Third and the topmost thing, right, which helped me is consistency. I never explicitly went and prepared for any specific product company because most of the times I got contacted. But I do have a habit of reading daily. Okay, and it's not like I read technical. I also read random books. I've read Game of Thrones. I've read so many other books. It's just that the habit of reading daily should exist, which helped me a lot. So consistency in any case. And if you don't like reading, that's also totally fine. But do something which you do it on a daily basis. Listen to books, listen to some YouTube videos, do some sort of problem solving, some TED Talks, whatever, but do something on a regular basis. And that will also help you understand what you're passionate about. Sometimes when you try doing something on a daily basis, you start hating it, which makes you look out for additional opportunities. And sometimes those additional opportunities make a very good career shape in your direction. So it at least comes in as an eye opener, if not anything else. Okay. And please don't get depressed with rejection. I have been rejected by a lot of companies, including Apple, CoinDCX, Hacker Earth, and few other companies. I loved each and every round in even those companies. And even if I had been rejected by Google, I would have loved my entire interview experience with them because I had something to take away from them. The only thing which I did definitely do was that every round, doesn't matter if it is positive or negative, go back and introspect it, figure out what could have been done better, where you did do well, and then keep identifying your own set of focus areas. Those focus areas will take you miles ahead compared to your other people who are applying, and it's always a competition. I mean, I'll be lying if I say it's not a competition, because you're competing against equivalently good candidates. So yeah, practice, practice, and practice. Just do it. I I have my friends who kind of keep pulling my leg for reading load balancer every single time that they come to my house. But it's just that I always never understood it properly. So I read some like 6 to 7 different books on just load balancers. But that's how much I pushed myself to understand it clearly and things around it. So yeah, going deep helps.
Yeah, got it. And I must say, like, these are the amazing tips. So thank you so much for them. And obviously, it's all about your efforts, the hard work that you have put, and that's what, like, you are currently where you are. It's all about your hard works and efforts, for sure. So yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you so much, Abhishek, again. And guys, if you want to connect with Abhishek in case of any queries or anything you want to ask, then I have provided the LinkedIn ID in the description. So do connect with him. And probably Abhishek will connect sometime for some other video and have a discussion on some other things. Thank you so much.
Sure, Soumya. Thank you.